Hey guys, this is Jay. Welcome to this episode of the LA12 live show. I am so excited to be with you on this Tuesday. Guys, I have a new friend and a gut health expert. Dale Ecuyer is here with us, and she's excited to share her passion about the connection between gut health and mental health. We're focusing today on how that relates, especially with our teens. Usually when we use the word gut, we say it in a somewhat negative way, right? Like, I hate your guts, or I threw up guts. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't mean to be gross. But they often, I believe, Dale, they call the gut the second brain, right? Is that true? Okay, I did my homework. There's so much that goes on between the gut health of an individual and their overall holistic well-being, whether it's their emotional health, their mental health. And so this is an often overlooked aspect of teens' well-being. And sometimes parents, I've been there, we can attribute certain behavior, certain characteristics, certain qualities to character issues. Like, oh, they're just lazy, or like rebellious issues. Well, they're just being that damn teenager, right? And all along, it could be, right, Dale? It doesn't always mean it is, but it could be that there is something going on in the gut. And I'm just going to ask you guys, have you ever thought about connecting some of the issues you see with your teen to their guts? Probably not. So after today, we're going to have a great education, not only from her knowledge, but her own journey with her daughter of how this brought transformation in her own life, and now why she's an advocate for the gut health and seeing families get help with their kids through this very specific focus. So Dale, welcome to LA12. So glad to have you. I'm going to turn it over to you and walk us through this important information for understanding gut health as it relates to our teenagers' overall well-being.
Wow, that was an amazing intro and synopsis. Yeah, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with your crew, with your tribe. I love serving families, and our kids are just so precious to me. And I have 5 of them, but I know that our parents, we all care so deeply about the mental and physical well-being of our kids. So for me, I've been into holistic health my whole life. My dad cured his cancer when I was 10 years old. He was given a year to live, and he sought out alternative treatments and lived another 40 plus years. So I've always been in this kind of area of realizing that the body has incredible ability to heal itself, but that's kind of like back end there. So fast forward, I raised my kids with homeopathy and herbs and acupuncture and alternative types of stuff. My daughter, when she went away to college, was starting to have like a lot of anxiety, depression, started having panic attacks. And when she graduated, she was had really hit a low point. Wow. Yeah. And this is so interesting. And I think this speaks volume, just this bit right here. She was chosen one of 6 in the country to be part of this program for writing. When she graduated, she was like, I can't write. Like, I can't write. Okay. So now she's writing a book, several years later, now she's writing a book. So that speaks volumes right there. As being in nutrition and holistic health my whole life, I always knew that the gut was responsible for like immune function, obviously like digestion, that type of thing. But when my daughter was really suffering, I actually was at a marketing conference, and I met this woman who had just joined the mental wellness company. And I was like, what is this about? Because I'm always looking for holistic protocols. And when she explained to me what it was about, what the gut-brain connection was about, I was like, sign me up. Like, my daughter has got to try this. So what happened, long story short, she got on the protocol. It was like a little bit of a roller coaster ride, which I later found out is kind of like what can happen. She had some PTSD as well in college.
Okay.
And when I actually went downstate to meet the formulator and talk to him about my daughter and why was this roller coaster ride. And he's like, it's kind of like peeling of an onion. And what was so interesting to me was throughout this process, my daughter said to me, and I always get chills when I tell this story. She said to me, when I think about what happened to me, I don't feel the same. I don't feel the emotion. And so to me, it was like, wow, like we really do store, experience in our bodies. Like, it's amazing. We have to address it. So, so that was kind of like my moment where I said, you know what? And I had been with another company for 10 years. I was like, this information has got to get into the hands of every parent around, because doctors don't know. This is not what they do. They do drugs, like that's their go-to, which I am not going to say anything about that. But why not try something that's holistic, that doesn't have side effects?
Yeah.
Oh, try that avenue first. And I applaud many parents who do it, because it's scary. It is scary when your kid is really struggling. So through all this, I've been doing this for 4 years now. What I learned was this, and this is fascinating. The gut creates 95% of serotonin. That's our feel-good neurotransmitter.
Oh my gosh.
Think about that.
Okay,
95%, right?
I'm taking notes, by the way. If you see me looking down, I'm taking notes.
Yes. So 75% of dopamine. Dopamine is like for motivation, right? GABA, which is the neurotransmitter that keeps us calm, which we need a lot of that, and parents need that big time, right? And then a big one is norepinephrine, which is another transmitter that is really important for focus. So for kids that have like ADHD, issues like that, we're seeing phenomenal results when we heal the gut. So you may be wondering, like, well, so how does the gut get so out of whack? So what happens, like, there are many things that affect it. And like, even you may even notice, like, we hear stories like my little one always was constipated, or they always had tummy aches, and then now as they're older, now they're starting to see like anxiety type of symptoms, and it's all connected.
Yeah.
So it's like, stress creates imbalance in the gut. The foods that we eat, big time. The stress is the biggest factor that really upsets the microbiome or the gut. Toxins in our environment, toxins in our foods, not getting adequate sleep. All of these things affect the microbiome of the gut. So when we use this protocol, what we do is we repopulate and restore the microbiome so that it can start to fire those neurotransmitters. It's incredibly fascinating science. It makes so much sense to me now that I realize, and now that I see all the results that we're seeing. I mean, we have kids that had IEPs that no longer need IEPs. I mean, like, crazy stuff. It's amazing. So I'm like shouting it from the mountaintops, like, to parents to kind of look at this and consider it, and it's just one piece of the puzzle. I'm not going to say, you get your kid on this and everything's going to be rosy. You know what I mean? They're still going to have stress in their life. They're still going to need to have good communication with their parents, loving friends, good friendship. But this is a part that I think we often neglect, is that physiological piece. It's just, if a kid's not sleeping, they're not going to have a good day. They're not going to be able to focus. They're not going to be their best selves. They're not going to bring their best to the plate. They're just not. You know what I mean? If they don't feel well, they're just not going to make great choices either.
Yeah. What I like about this, Dale, is that there's science behind what the gut does, right? So this isn't like, you're not like pull up in your wagon and you've got some snake oil you're trying to, push on people, right? This is like, there's science behind this, and it does have such an impact that, and it's relatively easy to address. In other words, you don't have to, book 10 sessions with someone and try to unearth like things, psychological things that might be barriers or hindrances. And those are legitimate things. Yes. It's not like you have to go have a surgery or go. I mean, we're talking about some very simple things that can be done to begin to bring and ensure that there's gut health, right? So you mentioned, reducing stress, food, sleep, right? These are simple things. So again, I know you're not saying this is a cure-all, but this is a relatively simple thing to address, maybe as like a first step to say, before we go looking at some, maybe more complex solutions to things, why don't we start with something of such simplicity that we know scientifically can and does impact all of these critical things, right? So it seems like a really good place to start. not assuming it's the only thing, but my goodness, why not start with something simple that is proven to have such a big effect, right? So
Absolutely.
how did you get started with your daughter? Like, we heard you say there was massive transformation in her. So how did you get started? If our parents are listening today and are like, how do you actually get started? How can you start addressing? It can feel overwhelming, even with the information you threw out. So like, where could a parent start? What can they start doing?
So I love what you're saying, Jay, because that really is it. People don't know where to start. Like if they have really low mood, they're just like, I don't know what to do. So if we can get people started on this protocol, and it's something tangible, like you said, it's not going to be one thing, but
Mhm.
if somebody has something tangible that's simple to start with,
Yeah.
then what happens is it kind of gets them on the path of, okay, I feel my mood is better today. I feel better energy today. I'm going to make a better choice. I'm not going to, I'm going to go for a walk,
Hmm.
or I'm not going to eat that candy bar, which I know makes me feel like crap,
Hmm.
or I'm going to go to sleep early tonight. So it's kind of like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And it gives you, more focus because of the protocol. And
Yeah.
so the question was, where do you start? You
Yeah.
start with the protocol.
Okay.
You start with a simple protocol, and there's a couple of different things that I would recommend, but it's based on the individual, like what other factors are going on.
Okay. Okay.
But typically it's a foundational system called the fundamentals, or we have something for teens, which I like because teens like to have something to drink. So we have something called Happy Juice, which has the
I love it.
microbiome, the prebiotics, the probiotics, the phytobiotics, and it's got something for motivation, which is going to boost dopamine, good for energy. So it's just a simple drink. I
Mhm.
send it to my 30, no, he's 40 now. My 40-year-old son, he takes it to work every day with him.
I love it. I
You
love
know
it.
what I mean? And my grandchildren. And you know what I mean? It's like we all
Hmm.
can use whatever tools we can find to boost our mood, to boost our
Hmm.
energy,
Hmm.
our stress resilience. That's a big one.
Mm.
That's a big one because stress is never going to stop.
Right.
But
Right.
we can build our stress resilience
Right.
by repopulating the gut.
Wow.
We got some tools here. I mean, I often hear parents say, I'm not snapping at my kids anymore. Like I'm calm.
Hmm.
Like things that used to bother me,
Hmm.
they just roll off my shoulder. And
Yeah.
that's what stress resilience is. And
Mm.
that's what repopulating the gut and getting those neurotransmitters firing
Yeah.
can do.
I think what happens at times is, we tend to think of our gut as, oh, like it's like where you put stuff you eat. And it's like all it does is just break down the food so I can use it, right? And that's about it. Most of us
Right.
think of the gut that way. But when we realize, like you had mentioned, all of the different, chemicals in the body that it releases and plays a direct role in ensuring our, healthy and the levels are there, that something as simple as just bringing good health to the gut can have an impact on motivation, on focus, on resiliency. And so we often just miss that connection that, it can actually affect some of the things that seem completely unrelated, you know?
Yes.
So Dale, I know that. So when you talk about the protocol, so like if a parent's listening today and are like, "Hey, like I think this is a good idea to try to address this. It's relatively simple and it can have a significant impact." So the protocol for a teenager, you're recommending there's a product that you guys have that's a drink that would basically that's what they need, a single drink substance. Is that my understanding that correctly?
Yes, and I mean that's a great way to start because the teen, needs to be compliant, and that's easy to do. So some of the other protocols that we have would involve maybe having more pills to swallow, and
Okay.
some kids don't want to deal with that. They just like, give me a drink, I can take it to school with me. We
Okay.
have something called Kids Mood, which is like a little pixie stick
Mhm.
that my granddaughter takes to school with her. I take it every day. It tastes delicious. It's like brings
Okay.
me back to childhood with the pixie sticks,
I
right?
love it. Yes, I
So
know.
yeah,
Remember
and
those?
then we have another supplement that is called Mood Plus, and that really, really was helpful for my daughter. And she would just
Okay.
keep it in her purse. She could take it multiple times a day. It's just adaptogenic herbs that help to keep you calm,
Yeah.
and that
Okay.
was really, really helpful for her. So
Okay.
there's a couple of other things, but it is quite simple, the protocol. It really
Okay.
is. Yeah.
And that those things you're referencing coupled with like good sleep, like it's so there's a coupling of things. Okay. I bring guests onto the LA12 show that I know that I feel confident in, and I don't have any affiliation with them. So like, if Dale has a supplement that she's talking about that's meaningful and she wants you to come check that out, like I don't make any money from this. I have nothing to do with it. I tell my friends you're coming on as friends and guests to bless my audience of parents. I want them to have these other good things. You guys know I focus on finding your kids verifiable career fits so they don't waste their time, money, and life guessing and getting it wrong. But there are so many other things that I know you're facing as parents. I'm a parent. I have a 22 and a 24-year-old. So I bring friends in from these other areas so that you could be helped in these other things that I know you're facing. I don't make anything on it. So this is not like I'm promoting something because I get a kickback. All right. So I just want to make sure you guys know that I don't do that here. So Dale, so you have some products that could help address and are a critical piece of the protocol. The website should be linked to the show notes here, the video, but I know you also have a Facebook group. And I love that you focus in that group on sharing stories of transformation. And I read some of, like, you sent me some links with some stories of kids, like the kids that get on this and they themselves are telling their parents, like, I feel different. Just maybe, you can think about another teenager in your story pool that you can share with us of transformation. Just, I know it's happened in your own life, but is there another story that you're thinking of that you could share with us that really saw help and health and transformation come to a young person through the protocol?
Yeah, this is really interesting. And if you go into the group, the Mental Wellness Warriors, you'll see so many of them. But I'm thinking about one in particular right now, this woman, Jen, her daughter, who was an athlete, who was an elite lacrosse player, and she could not get herself to go on the field. And
Wow.
it first manifested as gut pain. My stomach, this and that, I can't, what, she was just feeling uncomfortable in her stomach. And so again, like you said before, you don't necessarily make the connection between gut health and mental health, but
Wow.
it is so intricately connected. So she got her, I didn't even know, like she was following me and she ordered the products before I even knew that she did. And then she reached out to me like days later and was like, I can't even tell you the transformation that my daughter has had. Like it was like a light bulb went off. You know what I mean? Like her gut started to heal. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can get back on. She was like having anxiety to go onto the field and she couldn't go onto the field. She would sit in the car and just be like, I can't do it. She was like having like panic and anxiety. And then it didn't take very long. I think it was less than 30 days where the child was like, I'm good. Like, let's go. And now she's playing lacrosse again, at the collegiate level now. Just amazing. So many stories in there of kids, like, and I love the stories about the kids that no longer need the IEPs. So many kids are labeled like, you have a learning disability or you have ADHD, like hogwash. There's reasons for that. It's not just like this label that gets put on them. And, I could go into a whole nother story about that, like it just, it's just really disturbing to me when kids are given a label and said, this is how you are. No, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Sometimes there are those, issues that can be addressed that can bring resolution. So let me just kind of give a quick summary. And then if you have a question that you'd like to chat, if you're watching live, and thank you, we have some live viewers, appreciate you guys tuning in today. Or if you're watching the replay, you're also welcome to post a comment. Dale is here in the group. She's an LA12 member. And so if you post any questions, she will circle back around and make sure that she answers those. I will not try to answer those questions, but you are welcome to drop in a question at this time. We're going to pull it in to the screen and then we will let Dale kind of talk it through. All right. So we have something coming up here. And I can't see your name unless you signed in. So sorry, I usually love to address you by your name, but you are now a Facebook user. This talk sounds excellent. I'll have to catch the rest later. Oh, okay. Thank you for tuning in. Whoever you are, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Feel free to connect with Dale through the group here anytime you'd like. All right. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat, make the comment, and we'll pull them up on the screen, and we'll let Dale have at it. So, all right, guys. So basically, I'm hearing you say, Dale, and what I'm really encouraged by is that there is a connection between gut health and overall well-being of our teenagers. And that what sometimes presents itself in symptoms that maybe often get categorized as results of other things could actually be symptoms of poor gut health. And with a relatively simple fix, so to speak, there can be health brought to the gut, which may then in turn actually clear up that particular symptom and how it's manifesting. And so this could be a very simple solution. You're not claiming that it's the cure-all for everything, but it could address some of those issues that are often misidentified as being symptoms of something else. So I love that. I really love that. And I appreciate sharing that. Okay, great. Hey, Susan put her name so we can see who it is. Susan, is your product certified gluten-free?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. All right, cool. Susan, thank you for asking. Any other questions, guys, while we're wrapping up? Please, this is your time. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to chat them right now. If it's more of a private question, you can reach out to Dale. Again, she's in our group. You can reach out to her. You have the info to her group and also to her website for the products and the protocol that she talked about today. So, all right, Dale, any last minute things you want to kind of shout out to our audience, or any last minute things you want to say by way of encouragement for this type of approach to gut health?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to share this information.
Absolutely.
It is near and dear to my heart, and I do appreciate the opportunity. Yes, I would say try it. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose, only to gain. We have a money back guarantee. So,
oh, cool. All right.
I would say go for it. Like, you will be surprised. You got to give it some time. It really depends on where the teen is at, in terms of overall health, but it is definitely going to help.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, great. Guys, if you were watching today live, we had a few people watching. Thanks so much for giving us this 25 minutes. I value you. I appreciate you. I value your time. And it meant a lot that you were here with Dale and I today. Dale, thank you for being here. We have gelled. We have definitely connected. We've had some really cool conversations. We actually just like each other, and we're so happy to be supporting each other's work. Yeah. So I appreciate you, Dale, as a friend. I love that you're a voice in the space, and I would love to even have you on again. So in front of everyone, I'm giving you an invite to come back and do this again soon.
That would be amazing. Yeah, it takes a tribe, right, to raise our kids.
Well said. Well said. Yes. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.